Hello, it's Dr. Rowe and welcome back to part 2 of this series, this mini-series on facing blocks and fears, and we're going to be covering building your self-confidence. Now remember, we're building your self-confidence, so we're not talking about a lion chasing you now, fear of that. This is actually something to do with your own self-confidence. And there's 4 things we're going to cover here. So, pens out, stick with me, 4, write them down. First one is this: remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. So most of us will have a fear, a block that comes up, maybe a feeling of a lack of self-confidence in a specific area of our life. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that you're building a business and you're watching this right now and you've got confidence issues in certain parts of your business. First thing I want you to do more than anything else is simply sit down with a piece of paper and describe on paper, the way you would do to your children or to me or a really dear friend, why you're doing this, why are you going on this journey. It could be something you're studying. You might be wanting to study a new subject or learn something. You could be coming through seminars. I get people that I teach on the legacy events, for example, when I'm teaching people about property, and they've got a partner that's not in the room because their partner's not comfortable in a social environment, in a learning environment. They haven't been into the study environment for years and years. And here we are at 35, 45 years of age or more, coming into the classroom, and the wife's there, but the husband's quite nervous about this. So what I get people to do is focus on why. You see, if you have a big enough reason, you'll overcome any obstacle. If I'm stood in front of this obstacle right now and it's here, just imagine this for a second, and it's a block, and I'm looking at it, all I can see is the block. But if I make the why huge, really big reason, maybe it could be freedom, it could be to earn more money and a chance to change the family's life. All of a sudden, when I look at the block and I look above the block, I can see this growing reason, and it becomes bigger and bigger. What typically happens is the bigger the reason, the smaller the block becomes, to a point where this reason, this dream, this passion, this purpose is so big that you go, oh, there it is, and you step over it like that. You literally step over it, and that was the block, which previously seemed huge because you'd made it bigger than the reason why. So one of the best ways to overcome a block is to be really clear on why you're doing what you're doing. Otherwise, you have 2 choices. You focus on the problem, or you focus on the desire that you're looking to achieve. And of course, what people do is they make the problem so big and the reason so small, they can't even see the reason. So you make the reason big enough, and that's one of the biggest starting points we have to work with. Okay, so that's the first thing. Write down your purpose, your why. And of course, this is one of the areas that we start to focus on more with, not just with this mini-series, but going forward into the subscription series as well. That's the first one. Second thing is this. Now, I don't know you because you're watching this and I haven't met you yet, so I'm going to ask you the simple question. What are your strengths and your qualities? So if I was to sit here with you now and I said, right, you've got 5 minutes to list them out, what are the best strengths and qualities about you as a person? You know, you as a communicator, you as a parent, you as a father, as a son, as a friend, as an entrepreneur, as a girly friend or a boyfriend or whatever it is you are. What are your strengths and what are your qualities? So qualities could be things like you're resourceful, you're passionate, you're honest, you're disciplined, you're persistent. Your strengths could equally be those, but it could be something else as well. A strength could be the fact that you're just a gentle person, you're a very loving person. But you've got to do a list. Often what happens is we don't see the world the way other people do. So often I'll say to somebody, look, if they're struggling with their list, I'll say, okay, do me a favor, come back in a couple of hours, and or get on the phone, or come back tomorrow, and go out and speak to 2 of your friends and ask them a simple question. Give me 5 things that you love about me. What are 5 great things? Why are you my friend? What are my great qualities? And often people see you differently to the way you see yourself. So you've got to have to build on the why and then your strengths. And somewhere in those strengths, what will happen is you will start to pull out strengths and qualities that will help you overcome this block that you're facing right now. But we need to start with you being aware of them, because remember, the first step to change is awareness. It's one of the first things I wrote in my book, Turning Point, on the very first page. The first step to change is awareness. So that's number 2. What's the third thing? Okay, we're moving fast because we don't have a lot of time. The third thing is this. What have you overcome in the past? Let me just say that again. What have you overcome in the past? So here we are now, in the present, and you're facing this obstacle in front of you. Let's look back. Let's look back along the timeline. Oh, I remember a time when I had a similar situation. What did you do to overcome it then? What have you been good at overcoming in the past? Because the same qualities, the same strengths, persistence, perseverance, openness to learning, surrounding yourself with the right people, just never giving up. They're all qualities that you will have used at some point in the past. Well, I tell you what, let's drag some of those with us. Here's the next obstacle, the next fear. Let's pull them inside ourselves, magnify them, and let's find a way to break through this next challenge. Because if we can do that, and we can do it efficiently, and we can do it fast, we'll break through. Sometimes, look, watch. Trying to get through a block isn't very easy, but if we just go, and we bust through it, It's easier. So trying to do something slowly, like taking off a plaster, is not as effective as just ripping it off. So let's not drag it out. Let's go back, let's look at what we're great at from the past, and then let's pull that into ourselves and move forward into the future. And the last of the 4 elements of this particular part of the mini-series is list the resources that you can call on, the people that you know. So you might be thinking, well, how am I going to overcome this obstacle? Let's go back to the metaphor of the obstacle. Oh, I know, I've got my friend John. He's got a ladder. Boom. The ladder is a metaphor for John maybe having experience in this area. Oh, John's done this before. Oh, yeah, I've got to approach this investor. He's got money. He wants to bring money to the table, but I've never presented myself before to an investor. What could I do? Well, what resources do I have? Well, you could go and watch the communication section on the mini-series here. That would be one thing to do. You could go and speak to a friend of yours who maybe is another property investor. They've raised money before. You could call on that person. You're going to have your mentors around you. You see, no man is an island. Whether you're a billionaire like someone like Donald Trump, or whether you're someone like Mother Teresa who helped millions of people, she still had people around her to help her to be able to feed and nourish and nurture other people. So the greatest aspiring people, the most inspirational human beings on this earth are the ones that have never been afraid to reach out and pull people around them. And every human being at whatever level has experienced a block. But the ones that don't get through the door, that don't overcome the obstacle, that can't break through, are the ones that say, I can't do it on my own. You know what? It's no good. I'm just going to quit. There's no such thing as failure until you actually stop giving it a go, until you stop persisting. So you go, okay, I can't get through this on my own. What do I need to do? Who's around me? What resources do I have from the past? What are my strengths? What are my qualities? Who can I call? Who can I reach out to? You bring all of that around you, and between all of you, chipping away, oh, here's another key, try this key, oh, great, I'm nearly through, right? Someone needs to get behind, give me a push, boom, and we're through. If you can do that, it'll help you really move forward, and your self-confidence will grow. And remember, this is like putting legs under the table. So the more actions we do, the more things we do to move through the door. Once you're through the first door, and the second door, and the third door, it'll be like putting tables underneath your fear. In other words, we create a new set of beliefs underpinned by these legs that say, I can do this, I have got the confidence to do this, and guess what? The more legs you put on, the next time you come to the obstacle that's the same, you're going to stand on it and go, no problem. Look at all these support systems I've got underneath me, internally and externally as well. Okay, so on that note, what we're going to do is get on to part 3, which is destroying some of these limiting beliefs. So join me on the other side. Let's go through the door to part 3. I'll see you there.